So, Dave, what kind of prayers are you offering up to your god?
None.
You are playing a cleric, right?
Yup, Ted, but my cleric is more spiritual than religious.
Maybe we should look at the mind domain for the cleric from Exploring Eberron for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons.
Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds, I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
If you don't mind more D&D content in your YouTube feed, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
But if it's Nerdarchy videos you're after, ring that notification bell like you're a cleric and it's Sunday service.
So we're going to dive back into Exploring Eberron, which you can go find over on the DM's Guild. You can actually, get a print-on-demand physical book, or you can get the PDF. So far we're liking what we see. It's written by Keith Baker, the original creator and designer for Eberron. It's great stuff. We'll have a link in the description to the DM's Guild, so you can go check it out. Highly recommend it. So with that, let's just jump into it and let's take a look at another one of the subclasses. This time it's for the cleric, the mind domain.
So this path blends divine devotion and psychic power. The forces tied to the mind domain teaches followers that the mind is the greatest tool and the mightiest weapon in creation. A cleric of the mind domain learns to harness their own mental power, then uses this gift to protect the faithful and smite enemies. In Eberron, the mind domain is most associated with Kalishtar, Path of Light, and the Redram, Path of Inspiration. However, followers of the Cults of the Dragon Below might also follow this path. While visions of Zoriat can certainly drive a priest into madness, they might also reveal deeper secrets and mental powers.
And if you happen to have a psychic or psionic deity in your world, I suspect this would work really well for them. Obviously, it's a cleric domain, so we're going to get domain spells. At first level, we're going to get access to Command and Dissonant Whispers.
3rd level, we're going to get Detect Thoughts and Phantasmal Force.
5th level, Enemies Abound and Fear.
7th level, Confusion and Phantasmal Killer.
9th level, Dominate Person, Telekinesis. We get some really great options on this list. And also, we break with the norm. Generally, Wizards of the Coast does not go outside of the player's handbook for their domain spells, but Keith Baker's doing his own thing, beating his own drum with his Xanathar's Guide to Everything spell, Enemies Abound. I mean, granted, it's a great spell. I just thought we'd point out that's a little bit different from the norm.
Absolutely. And, I applaud that. I think that there are times that there are spells that are outside the player's handbook that fit better than, some of the ones that are there. So I like to see those choices. But at 1st level, we're also going to get Flash of Insight. You can summon power from a well of mental energy at your core. When you make an ability check, you can choose to re-roll it after you see the result, but before you know if it succeeds or fails. You get a bonus to this re-roll equal to half your cleric level, minimum 1. You can use this feature twice. You regain expended uses when you finish a short or long rest.
So we're seeing a little bit of different mechanic there. With that bonus, at 20th level, use it. It's a plus 10. That's significant. That could get that number up there quite high. But again, it's a little bit of different. I like it. I think it's useful. And, it's just another way to manipulate dice in the game. But
it's a 1st level power. So if you're looking for some extra dice manipulation mechanic, 1st level cleric power, boom, you got it.
It's absolutely there for you. So with that, we're not done at 1st level. We also get Psychic Force. Also at 1st level, you learn to buffet your foes with mental power. When you cast a cleric spell or cantrip that inflicts radiant damage, you choose to have it inflict psychic damage instead. It's not super powerful. It's not going to unbalance the game. You're not doing extra damage or more damage. You're just changing the damage type, which could be super useful.
There's times that, especially, higher level when you're fighting something that might have immunity or resistance to radiant damage, being able to change that to psychic is very helpful. And again, it's a 1st level grab. So, this might be useful for someone who has radiant powers outside of, cleric to be able to grab this. So
it's all about smacking around total barbarians and angels.
Channel Divinity gets psychic feedback. Beginning at 2nd level, you can use your Channel Divinity to disrupt a foe's mind. When a creature within 30 feet of you has to make a Wisdom saving throw, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on it using your Channel Divinity. You must use this feature before you know the outcome of the roll. If the spell or effect that caused the wisdom saving throw is not created by a spell you cast, you can also choose to deal psychic damage to the target equal to half your cleric level immediately before the target makes its saving throw.
So again, we're seeing more dice manipulation, and also just another way to damage them, to kind of tag team them with a party member, which is always kind of cool when you and your party can work together. You know, the wizard casts a spell or the sorcerer casts a spell, you give them disadvantage and also make them take some more damage for their efforts as well.
And if they happen to be concentrating on a spell, then that's, potentially 2, con saving throws that they're going to have to make to end that concentration effect. So, lots of ways to, again, manipulate dice. So I definitely like that ability.
I agree. So we also get Gestalt Anchor. Beginning at 6th level, your mental power increases, settling the minds of those around you with your mere presence. Whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make an intelligence, wisdom, charisma saving throw, the creature gains a +2 bonus to saving throw. To that saving throw, you must be conscious to grant this bonus. So again, we're getting a way to help our allies. We can buff, we can assist them. It is a little weird. We don't see this happen in the game very often, where you're getting flat bonuses like that. It's very, like I said, it's pretty rare, but we're getting it here.
The closest thing you see to this is, the charisma, bonus to saving throws that a paladin offers, but that's to all saving throws that, you're within 10 feet of, and then at, higher level it goes to 30 feet. But this is, a flat bonus, doesn't change. I would like to see this, linked to a particular stat to fit more with, D&D's particular standpoint.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that give bonuses, but yes, they're usually tied to a stat, and it's like the modifier for that stat minimum of 1.
Right.
Like haste is one of the very few places where we see get a +2 bonus to your armor class.
So,
although I will say, I guess I am a little bit wrong, because War Wizard does get a +4 to saving throws, but like I can only think of really like those 2 instances off the top of my head.
It is rare. So given the fact that this is a cleric, maybe to emphasize the mind aspect, I would change that to your intelligence modifier, bonus, minimum of 1. That would just be my go-to reaction. I don't think it's unbalanced. I don't think it's, it's too powerful. It is specifically only to mental saving throws. I just think that it could be better if you were to go that. But it's 6th level, so potent spellcasting, this is just going in line with, what, Wizards typically does with clerics, getting, one or the other. Starting at 8th level, you add your wisdom modifier to any damage you deal with a cleric cantrip.
Yeah, I mean, 8th level, you're either going to get potent spellcasting or the divine strike, one or the other. It makes sense that Keith went this direction. It's one of our least favorite abilities in the game. It is just so blah to us, but I guess it's useful. So our capstone ability is going to be Bend Reality. Starting at 17th level, when you see an ally within 30 feet of you fail a saving throw, you can replace the roll with a 20, potentially changing the outcome. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Again, this is a super buffing cleric. They're going to be super useful to the party. Replacing it with a 20 it absolutely probably changes the outcome. You can always turn a failure into a success now. You can only do it once per rest, so it's not terrible. And again, like we're at the end of the game anyway. Right. You're doing cosmic things. It's hardly game breaking.
So when I look at the wording here, I know that there's probably going to be some games who use this and are going to get into a rules argument over there, because it doesn't say replace the roll with a natural 20, which on a saving throw, a natural 20 always succeeds, whereas I know that there are some saving throws that a 20 doesn't succeed when you're talking about higher level things. So if you have someone who has a negative or a very low modifier, that might actually still fail if you're going with it as a default number plus or minus their modifier. If you got a DC 24 and it's a total of a 22, sorry, you still don't make it.
Do you think that that's actually a typo? Like it should be replace the die roll with a 20 and not just replace the roll with a 20?
So I don't know, because I would see it as remove the mechanics and the numbers entirely. When an ally fails a saving throw, you can have them succeed instead. I believe I've seen somewhere else, in other things. So I would think that would be what you would want to do. So if that was the intent, that's how I would label it. So that
I think at Hellcow is going to get a tweet at them in the near future from me for clarification.
So I mean, yeah, that would be fantastic. I think this is, either way, I think it's cool. I would totally rule it as, yeah, it's a natural 20. You pass. I'm going to side in the case of the players. We're talking about a once a rest ability for a cleric to save your ally. Why would you not treat this as a natural 20? But I know there are loads of people out there who really like to be sticklers for what is specifically written, and it doesn't say natural, so...
Yeah, and so even without the language of whether it's a natural 20 or a 20 that replaces the die roll, the important distinction, I think, to me is, are we replacing the roll or not, or is it just a 20? Because if it's a 20 plus modifiers, then that's completely different. That 20 could be a 19.
Yes.
Right? Or that 20 could be, a 27, right? So it's much different. It could be over 30. So yeah, so a little clarification there wouldn't be bad.
So,
I agree that I wouldn't mind giving the player the die number is replaced with the 20, add or subtract your modifier.
Yeah, it does say replace the roll with a 20, but it doesn't say with a roll of a natural 20. So, I would assume your modifiers, plus or minus, still apply, but, the course of whether that number is actually going to allow you to succeed, because it doesn't say that word natural. That's my only sticking point, and like I said, I think some people are going to argue over it. Overall, I think this is a great class. I don't have any serious beefs with it being played as is. I just might make some, some tweaks, adding the natural for the bend reality, maybe offering up the intelligence modifier for the Gestalt Anchor, which, if you don't have a high intelligence, which would be crazy for a mind domain character to not, then, maybe that's not quite as good. But I would expect that this kind of character to be super smart.
Be a little more cerebral. Yeah, I like this domain. I think it's a good domain to add to your repertoire. So if you have a god of the mind or intellectual god or psychic or psionic god, this is the one you're going to want to use. Absolutely, without question, I will add it to the games I'm running.
100%.
Want another opinion on a different subclass from the Exploring Eberron book? Well, you can check out this one up here where we discuss the Circle of the Forged Druid.
If you like adding DM's guilds to your game, why not check out all the monthly products that we're making over on Nerdarchy the Patreon?
That's not all we do. We do weekly patron-only live chats, monthly giveaways that our patrons are automatically entered in, and more.
So until next time,
stay
nerdy.